will blow me down and roger me with a rubber chicken. Final Fantasy's Ultimanias are at last coming to the West, or at least a few of them. An official English translation being done by the publisher Dark Horse will be releasing in 2018, June the 5th, the first of Square Enix Ultimania series, and starting with Final Fantasy 1 to 6. So this got announced at the New York Comic Con. Needless to say, I'm super excited for this because for anyone who doesn't know about Ultimanias, it's been a long journey. Frustrating, aggravating journey, because in these Ultimanias there's been so many times when it's included canon and details and laws that weren't in the original game, basically explained a shite ton of stuff about the games that wasn't in the original game, and that's been really frustrating as a Final Fantasy fan all these years, trying to learn about all the story because I am a story junkie. It's like cocaine to me, it's my sniff. That's what floats my boat. Now, just quickly looking at these Ultimanias, so some nice artwork. It's going to feature the original concept arts, process pieces, and notes from the original artists and designers. And the first edition will be a meaty 336 pages. It's going to be hardcover. It's going to be $39.99. So here on this rainy ass island where I live, that's going to be about 29.99 squids. Also, if anyone's interested in, Dark Horse will also be releasing a third and final volume of The Legend of Zelda in April. But like I said, what took you so long, Square Enix? You are the kings of Ultimanias. In fact, they are the ones who made up the word Ultimania. This detail right here kind of blew my mind. Yeah, Square came up for it. So originally they called their books Perfect Works. Now there was only 3 books in that series releasing back in 1998, I think, and that was for Xenogears, Saga Frontier 2 and Front Mission 3. But let's be honest about it, the name Perfect Works is kind of shit. It sounds more like a hippie art class or something, and Square Enix realised it and they created the word Ultimania as a portmanteau of the words ultimate and mania. And so this started back in 1999. That was the first Ultimania ever made, and that was Final Fantasy VIII in March. And there's been a long history of amazing, fleshed out, informative Ultimanias coming out, all the way up to this July 2017 with the Zodiac Age Ultimania. In the history of Square Enix, so all of their games, there have been 75 Ultimanias, and 45 of those 75 were Final Fantasy. God damn. These 75 books have sold over 10 million copies as of 2007, which was the last time we ever got a sales figure from Square Enix. Correct me if I'm wrong there, that's the only source I could see. So they've done really well, over 10 million copies back in 2007. But the kicker, the absolute tomfoolery and frustration is, of those 75 books, not a single goddamn one came to the West. Not a single one. Neil. Zero, zilch, nada. Square Enix have almost never made the effort to bring any of these to the West. They've always been adapted just for the Japanese market. There was, I think, one case when an FF11 Ultimania came out, but Square Enix was trying something new. It was online, the first ever one online, and it was a heaping pile of tomboy shit. No other way to say it. So at long last, to be finally hearing Square Enix talking about bringing Ultimanias West, yes, yesums, yesery, I really hope they bring the Final Fantasy 15 one. Now this isn't to say that Ultimanias aren't available. Of course, we have had fan translations, we've had people who speak Japanese, trying to relay the information back to the West, just snippets or portions of the Ultimania, and oftentimes it's been such a nightmare to actually try to piece all of these stray bits of details of the Ultimanias in your head. There's more effort than it's worth and you end up just more confused. Now, saying that, I'm going to say it straight, just because Dark Horse are doing these translations and bringing them to the West, am I still confident in translations? AKA, am I certain that they're going to be accurate, that they're going to be good translations, there's not going to be full of inaccuracies? Because misinterpretations of a sentence or even just a word can drastically change the context of what is being said, what happened in the story, lead to misinterpretations. And I'm going to say, hell no. Now, I have heard things about Dark Horse, this is nothing about them. If anyone could do a good translation, Dark Horse are a great candidate for it, though I am saying that from literally like the 2 books of theirs that I've read. But the fact is, when even patch 1.16, yes, I'm talking about it again in Final Fantasy 15, the backstory of the Astrals, when even that had such a fail and backwards of a translation. So for anyone who doesn't know this, they really butchered the translation in the West. A fluent Japanese speaker and translator went through the details and the lines and the dialogue that happened during patch 1.16, and I was just flabbergasted to see just how much of a difference there was. So with the English version, for some reason Square Enix tried to be more flowery, poetic, mysterious and cryptic in their language. So much so that it was to the point that if you read the Japanese version, it leads you to completely different interpretations. So you guys get the message when even Square Enix themselves are one of their most integral parts of their DLC, in my opinion, when they have a really butchered, messed up translation that's all over the place, and we've just had it throughout the Final Fantasy history. However, I'm kind of confident in saying that because this is Dark Horse and not Square Enix themselves, their job, I hope, is just to directly translate word from word, just literally a translation job. What it was in Japan, boom, write it down in English. Don't try to change it, don't try to alter it, don't try to reword it, you know, based on what you think Square Enix, we here in the West, will be able to understand. Because we've definitely seen examples of that happening, and that's when it just leads to Ultimania that really leaves you knowing less than when you started. Now, a great example of when a translation really changed the story, it was a recent one I did. So my last video where I talked about FF7 Remake, I spoke about Johnny. We got told that Johnny was not only an ex-soldier, he also knew Cloud during his time in Soldier, and that he was both childhood friends, was grown and raised in Nibelheim. So that Johnny knew Tifa and Cloud from childhood, but the truth of it is, he actually just asked a question. He actually said, is Cloud that ex-soldier guy? And then mentioned that he knew Tifa when they were younger. So there's still evidence that Johnny did come from Nibelheim, but there's nothing about being childhood friends with Cloud, as well as Tifa, and he most definitely wasn't in Soldier with him, considering Cloud wasn't even in it. So there's just an example of what I'm talking about, so I really hope that we do have some accuracy and faithfulness in these Ultimanias, and this is just the tip, so this is just 1 to 6. There are another 39 Final Fantasy Ultimanias to get round to, Square, so I'm actually super excited to get these. I will be buying them, I will be reading them, and if I do find any really juicy hints or details in the Ultimania that we never had previously to the West, oh, you best believe I'm going to cover it for you guys. Never fear, if you can't be bothered to sift through 366 glossy ass pages of Ultimania and fork out $40, you have a peasanty promise that anything juicy I will be reporting on this channel. I will be doing a video on it, but there it is, guys. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. I say that pretty much every time I go. I need a different outro. Kubo!